Season 2 of the first Descendant is right around the corner. And yes, we were streaming live on the dev commentary. So, what can we expect? We'll talk through characters, content, quality of life, and cosmetics. So, starting with characters, Ultimate Sharon. Ultimate Sharon. Ultimate Sharon. So, Ultimate Sharon, yes, she has been confirmed officially. Thank goodness. She's been confirmed officially. What does this mean? So, one, everyone else gets to experience her because I've already had her. But she's going to come with 2 transcendent mods. The first one being area exposure, I believe. And that one changes her 4th ability into a AoE ability. So now she's going to be able to throw her knives in 360-degree motion. And that's gonna allow her to be a true AoE queen compared to any of the other AoE abilities. So we're gonna obviously build that one. And it also lowers your cooldown, so you can do it a lot more often. The second one is called Ambushed. Yeah, that same one. So Ambush is her passive ability, as most of you guys know, that allows her to increase damage when she goes invisible. So Ambushed is going to be a transcendent mod that allows her to basically go infinitely invisible. And when she's invisible, and it's going to basically enhance her invisibility and enhance her 3rd ability, Shock Nuts. So, one, Shock Nuts becomes an offensive ability that allows you to actually do damage. Previously, it just stuns, and then with Battlesuit Melting Rounds, it actually debuffs, but now it will actually do damage. And as a part of the ability, when she goes invisible, it lowers her cooldown, increases her movement speed, and effectively makes her invulnerable to any type of traps or, random things that are a part of the actual gameplay. You can still get hit. It also increases your damage, and when you kill someone with it, it allows you to go back invisible or re-triggers your invisibility. So this works similarly to a passive ambush without having that kind of 2 limit. So as it states, from what they said, it seems like you can almost proc an infinite invisibility, which I think could be really cool. They didn't mention if it's going to be effective on Colossi, so whatever. New characters, part 2. Keelan. Keelan is, we thought he was Dominican. He's not Dominican. He's not Mother's Milk. He's actually African. His name is Keelan Ayadele. And Keelan is a toxic male character. And this character does not use MP. Instead, he moves around. There he is right there. Instead, he moves around similar to Bunny and gains a gauge, and that's how he uses his abilities. And his actual toxic is actually purple, which is super cool. And it triggers this ability called Acidity Gauge. And the Acidity Gauge, I believe that's what it was called, slowly stacks, and as it stacks, his abilities become more powerful, similar to like Toxic Mixture, I believe. So there's that. So that's something to think about. They didn't really mention much else, but he will be available December 5th, right out of the gate. So will Sharon, December 5th, right out of the gate. Ines is the other character that they talked about. I don't believe she's showcased in the video that's running below me, but Ines is the second character. She is another electric-based character. That's all we really heard about that. I don't believe they mentioned much else about what's happening with that. But she will be available January 16th. So there's 3 updates. It's going to be December 5th, January 16th, and they mentioned there's going to be another one slightly after that, but they didn't give us the exact date. So those are the characters from the Descendant side. From the non-Descendant side, there is another big bad. There he is right there, right? So he's like this Colossi type thing. You're going to find him in the Void Vessel. So the new content that's dropping is attached to these new Descendants. And it is content that is not going to be directly an extension of the current campaign. Instead, what it is going to be is a parallel timeline. And in this parallel timeline, what's happening is showing you things that are going to be relevant to the future season 3 campaign. So it's like, hey, you got what's happening over here, what's happening over here, and then it kind of collides to ultimately what's going to be moving the campaign forward. But as a part of this content, you are introduced to what is called the Void Vessel. And the Void Vessel is where you find this big bad, right? So it's also the Mega Dungeon. So in the Mega Dungeon, you can go through multiple paths, each one unlocking different aspects of rewards and different aspects of mechanics and enemies and different, like a slew of different mechanics, a slew of different enemies and waves and all of that fun stuff. And at the end of that, you will meet this big bad. I believe the new Vulgus type is called the Dread. I think that's what they're called. And forgive me, y'all. Remember, I'm doing this all from memory. Literally, we just watched it. We had to read the subtitles, and I'm doing all of this. So we are. You can do that. Unlock a bunch of different, weapons. Unlock the new Descendants, all through the Void Vessel. Content part 2. Obviously, you have Ultimate Descendant for Sharon, and you're also going to get her story, where she's conflicted with her identity of being half machine, half human. How much human is she? Can she still be human? All of that fun stuff. So you're going to learn more about her. You're also going to see her nemesis here, which is super fun. So what else can we expect content-wise? So there is a thing called Void Control, I believe. And in Void Control, it is a kind of souped up version of the defense missions, where you have 30 stages and each stage getting exponentially more difficult than the previous one. By the way, going back to the Mega Dungeon can be done on both normal mode and hard mode. So just want to clarify that. Normal mode and hard mode. So for anyone that maybe struggles a bit with the hard mode content, you're newer to the game, you're feeling like it might be overwhelming, you will be able to do all of that content in normal mode as well. So just keep that in mind. You'll have that option as well. So that going back to the Void Control, yeah, you'll be able to get different level rewards as you get higher up, but the difficulty will also scale. I'm actually really loving the difficulty scaling, but that's a part of that, right? So next up, what do we have when it comes to companions? I think I talked about the dog. We have a dog. So I did not talk about the dog. So let me go back for a second. We have a new companion. He's going to be a dog. You kind of see him in the video rotating here. And we don't have multiple companions right now. We just have the one, and it's going to be a dog. He is going to be customizable as well. And what his purpose is filtering for, he's going to allow you to collect a bunch of materials without having to go and search for it. And he's also going to automatically dismantle items based on how you have set your filtering system. So if you haven't watched my video on filtering systems, go watch that video. So it'll explain everything you need to know about setting up your filters, because this will allow you to farm way more efficiently. You can farm without having to stop mid-mission or having to worry about things that are overloading into your storage. You can just set your filters and then have that going right out of the gate. So what else? We have, when it comes to quality of life. So quality of life changes. RNG, they are updating the RNG for everyone that was worried about how hard it is to grind and how long it takes to grind. So they are updating the RNG to focus more on what you actually need. So what does this mean? So with the updates on RNG, you will now be able to select the thing that you want, the item that you want, whatever, from a select set of items, and then you will have a quest line, and the quest will give you a series of missions, or it could be the same mission that you have to do, whatever, and it will then fill up a gauge as you start to accomplish those things. And that gauge is a physical reminder that will show you when you will get the item. So you can still do the RNG rolls if you want, but you can now do this to make it a more streamlined grinding experience, where you know, okay, I'm gonna do this 20 times, I'm gonna do this 40 times, and I know that once I did it on the 40th time, I've gotten the item that I want, the blueprint that I want, whatever. So they did update that. Um, they're also reinforcements are still going to stay, so the invasions are still going to stay. All of that stuff, reinforcements are going to stay, so you can still update your character. As a part of further updating your character, you can now further update your weapons. So first, there are going to be 3 new weapons, ultimate weapons that are introduced in the battle pass. Yes, 3 new weapons. Previously, you had 1 per battle pass. Now we have 3 new weapons that are introduced with this new battle pass. One is a shotgun. One is a linear fusion rifle. I don't know what the third one is. I can't remember what that one is. But that's going to be super cool. With the weapons, they also introduce weapon cores. And weapon cores are going to function similarly to the reinforcement mechanic for the Descendants, where it's another way for you to continue to expand your abilities of your weapons and the impact of your weapons, so you can fine tune it even further by going through, the whole mechanic of gathering a bunch of materials, getting these weapon cores up, and then updating very specific parts of your gun. So that's going to be actually pretty cool. So they didn't give us any transcendent mods for our guns, but weapon cores is another way for you to update your guns even further to further customize your builds. Why is this important? Because building is now going to be top tier. So with building, with the new content that's being dropped, the new colossi that's being dropped, all of this stuff is going to be difficulty locked behind builds. Yes, meta builds are still going to be great, but now in order for you to actually get through the content, you actually need to be good at creating very custom builds. So that's where people like this guy comes in, and you can check out all my builds on the Discord, shameless plug. But we will continue to be making new niche builds as these new difficulties are released. But yes, so they did mention that all of the difficulty scaling is structured around making sure that you have very specific builds that will make your gameplay a lot easier or a lot harder. As we get into that, there's new colossi. So the new colossi mechanics, rather. So you know about enraged, you know about when they aggro on you. There's a new mechanic called frenzied mode. When they're in frenzied mode, you can physically see a change in their physical being. And when they're in that stage, what ends up happening is they will, one, be more powerful, they will regenerate, and they cannot leave this state. Nobody can leave this state. So, how some colossi, you can kind of like outlast their enrage mechanic, and some you can't. So for frenzied, they will continue to be frenzied until you actually do enough damage or knock off a piece, basically stun them, knock off a piece of their armor. That's the only way for you to get them out of frenzied mode. Otherwise, they will be infinite frenzied, infinite aggro, infinite frenzy. This is going to be very difficult. And each colossi in this state will require a different build to be optimized in order to get them out of this state faster. So it is going to be a glorious day for that. Cosmetics, skins, ton of new skins. Not only do you have a ton of new skins for the events like holidays coming up, Christmas, Lunar New Year, all of this fun stuff, but they're committed to having custom skins for new colossi. They already had one for the Devourer. They had one for, I believe, we already have Dead Bride. They had one for Devourer. They had one that looks kind of like Black Mantis. But anyway, they have a ton of those, a ton of new premier skins. The new Evolution skin is going to be Valby. So for all you Valby players, Valby's getting her evolved skin. So that's going to be super fun as well. For anyone wondering, are they nerfing Freyna? No, they're not going to nerf Freyna. They did talk about whether or not they want to nerf Freyna because her infinite contagion has been creating a problem with the player base, but they decided at this point they will not be nerfing her, but more news to come in the future on that. You can now customize your skins, your base skins, not just your purchase skins, but your base skins can now be customized with new colors. They're dropping new colors, but they're also dropping the ability to customize each part of your skin, even your base Descendant skin, not just your ultimate, but your base Descendant skin as well. So that's going to be super cool. Fun. So let's see. Did we miss anything? I don't think we missed anything. We might have missed some stuff, and I know this is a super long video. We might have missed some stuff, but uh, definitely, check out the. I think they have their video live now, but check it out. But I just wanted to drop this in here so that y'all can know there's not going to be a ton of editing on this. It's just my raw thoughts and my memory of. I think that that's it. That's quite a bit. And some of these things are going to be rolling from, some of these things are going to be dropped on the 5th. Some of these things are going to be rolling through the 16th and beyond. But yeah, what do y'all think, man? I think personally, they're doing a good job of addressing how do we get the easier modes for people that are kind of struggling, and then how do we develop into more difficult modes for people that like the challenge, for people that like to struggle a bit, they like to challenge themselves with different builds. You're going to have a lot of that in this new content, from the new boss, from the mega dungeon, the void vessel, the void control missions, and all of that stuff. So definitely let me know in the comments what you think of this. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.